Hey guys, what's going on? Ray with Follow My Lead Dog Training, your dog trainer. I'm here with a special guest, CEO of Rambles Raw, new teammate.
Thaloa.
Glad to have you, Thaloa. It's a pleasure to have you on a segment. It's a pleasure to be working with you.
Yes, I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be a part of the team.
We just had a group class this morning. But prior to that, we were talking about some struggles that dog owners were having, and we had got a question that had came in on Instagram, and I think a lot of people are thinking about this or maybe struggling with it. And the question came across with leash reactivity. Leash reactivity. That's a real one. A lot of people are like, hey, my dog is doing this. When I take it for a walk and they see another dog, they're barking, they're lunging, they're growling. I don't know what's going on with this dog. So leash reactivity is a big one, especially not being able to see a lot of dogs maybe that you would normally. And it's not going to get better, guys, because we are in the midst of cold weather. I'm cold. We're outside, but it's nice out, but it's cold. So we're here to talk to you about leash reactivity. So stay in your seat. Don't move. Wait a minute, you walking around the house watching this? Okay, wherever you are, just focus so we can talk about leash reactivity. All right, so the big one, leash reactivity. So what's going on with leash reactivity?
Sure. I feel like for me even, sometimes a lot of owners, we come in and they're like, how do I keep control over my dog when he's barking, lunging, trying to buck out of the collar? You're saying, I'm doing all these things. I'm doing the prong pressure, you're doing the prong leash pops, and nothing is working. Here at Follow My Lead, we try to target those behaviors prior. So how do you, as the owner, keep yourself calm so that you can remain in control?
Boom! Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell. Is it right? It's there. You can see it because you're not hitting it. That's the problem. You're not being proactive. Hit the button, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Okay, so leash reactivity. Wow. I don't really have an answer for you with leash reactivity. You have to answer this for yourself. What am I doing wrong that's allowing my dog to act like this? Okay? And let me tell you, me and Thaloa was just talking about this. There's small instances where it has nothing to do with the owner. It has nothing to do with what the owner's doing before they go out on the walk or they take their dog anywhere. It has nothing to do with any of that. It's just that the dog really is reactive to whatever is the trigger point out there on their walk. Right? So this is true. But most of the time, it has nothing to do with that. The dog really doesn't care about those things. There's a breakdown somewhere in the relationship, in the discipline, and the advocating of the dog. So I want to
advocate.
I want to hit on those things. Okay? So let's talk about advocating for your dog. So if you've had a situation on leash where you've been walking your dog and you allowed something to happen that may, for your dog, have been disrespectful. Think about this. I want you to put it in this is the time I want you to humanize, okay? If me and Thaloa are walking down the street and some random guy comes up and just pushes Thaloa on the ground, and then I just say, it's okay, get up, let's keep moving, right? How is it going to feel for Thaloa to want to walk down the street again with me?
You're like, no way.
Like, it's okay. Like, that's the response that you gave? So, I want you to think about in the moments where your dog has been on leash and something has happened. A dog has come over with their owner and they want to say hello. I didn't know dogs speak. But it's a thing. They say hello, like on leash. Have you seen this? The dogs are like, hello, I want to say hello.
Or you have people stopping and being like, oh, my dog really wants to say hi to your dog. Like,
Yeah. So this is going on. What did you do in that moment? How did you advocate for your dog? Did you just let it happen, or did you just say, I don't know, I don't want my dog to say hello? You know. Now imagine if I was a good business partner to work with for the law, right? And I noticed that the guy was going to come over and push her down, and I stepped in front of her, right? She may have felt a little bit better about that. She's like, oh my gosh, Ray, you seen that? Like, you noticed that was going to happen? Like, absolutely, because I'm paying attention, and there was this crazy person that was down the street like, hey, I'm going to come say hello to you. And when they got close, they went to push. So these things are happening with your dog. The hello moments are happening. You're allowing this dog to come over that your dog doesn't even know. And they're going to come over and just sniff your dog's butt. They don't even know your dog. You're going to let them just sniff the dog's butt? How invasive is that? They haven't even been able to really say hello, but the other dog's going to come right over with his big bad demeanor and just go over and sniff all up in your dog, and then you're expecting the dog to be okay with that. So you may not get a reactive moment out of that, but what you've gotten is a breakdown in trust.
Yes.
And that's a big one for
That's
leash
huge.
reactivity. So you got a breakdown in trust because you lose points. This is a point system I talk about. You lose points with your dog, big time. So it may not be that time. It may not even be the 5th time that you allow it to happen, but it's going to be a time that your dog's going to say, enough's enough. I'm not going to let you do this anymore. Let me show you what my animal mind is thinking, and I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop. Would you agree?
I would totally agree.
And I'm going to stop you from allowing this person to yell down the street and say hello with their big bad dog and try to come over and sniff me. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to lunge, I'm going to bark, and I'm going to growl. And you're going to say, oh no, let's go a different way. Let's walk a different way. Let's turn around. Let's wait for the dog to pass because now your dog has put his foot down. Or paw.
Oh,
Paw,
yeah.
right?
Paw.
Yeah, paw down. Or all 4. Whatever. So this is what happens, guys. And you don't advocate for the dog, you lose points, and that builds up pressure on the dog till it hits a point of barking, lunging, and growling.
Yes.
All right, so advocate for the dog.
And a big thing too is it may not even be like another big dog, but it could even be like a little dog coming over and like yapping or trying to get underneath. Then like say you have a larger dog and it's like stepping over it, trying to get behind you. All of those little things are creating so much stress in your dog and building up to that real reactive moment.
Big time, big time. And watch our video on how to advocate for the dog. Okay. So discipline. Let's talk about discipline. So discipline, this is going to be what happens before you get out for the walk, okay? All the things leading up to the walk, so, the big one that a lot of people know, are you making your dog wait at doorways, okay? Are you, is your dog just roaming around the house pacing because they know in their internal clock that it's 6 o'clock a.m. and it's walk time, and you're walking around the house like, hey, it's walkie time, buddy, we're going on a walk in about 5 minutes, you better get ready, you better get ready, you better get ready. Are we doing those things? Because that is a lack of discipline, and the dog will tend to get worked up. You will add pressures to the dog, okay? So then when it gets out there in the world where there's very little advocacy going on. Advocacy, is that a word?
It's a word.
Advocacy. Look at that. See,
Right.
that's a word. When there's a little bit of advocacy going on, then it goes, I need to think like an animal. I need to think like a dog, and I have to protect myself. Sometimes I have to protect my own, too. All right? So you got to start with good discipline in the house. The talking, that never works. Getting your dog pumped up and talking to it, telling it you're going to go for a walk, telling it you're going to grab the leash, telling it you're going to grab the keys, these are all pressures that are adding up on your dog that is either going to add excitement, a little bit of anxiety. Think about that. you're just gonna keep pressing it each and every day. You're doing this 365 days a year that you're adding that in. Okay, so we gotta do better with the discipline in those small moments. Okay, making the dog sit at the door is good. That's a good practice. The other thing I would say is with your discipline is allowing the dog to come to you to put on his tools.
Yes.
We should do a video on that.
100%.
Allowing the dog to come to you. Yeah, to put the tools on, or you kind of like chasing the dog around the house. These are all disciplines that need to happen prior to you getting out into a walk with a leash reactive dog. And you have to do this very well or you will not succeed.
Yes. Well and consistently.
Consistency is a big one.
It is.
It's a big one. So, what was our third one? So consistency. Yes, that's very, very important. Consistency is important. So let's get into the third and final. We got advocate for our dog. Very important to do. So we hit on a couple things about advocating for our dog. Don't forget to watch the video on how to advocate. We'll get into different things that you can take away on how to advocate for your dog. And then discipline, we'll go even deeper, take a deeper dive into discipline with the dog. And then the tools. The tools are so important in trying to manage and control leash reactivity. I won't keep you long on this. Use what works for your dog. Not what your friend said worked for their dog. Not what your trainer 30 years ago said worked for their dog. Not what the lady up the street said worked for your dog. Do what works for your dog.
The dog that you have right now.
Yeah.
That's
the
like
dog that you have. Yeah,
right
not like the one you had 5 years ago.
Yes,
right
like,
now. That's a big one.
Yes.
Yeah. So do what works for your dog. And don't be shamed.
No.
Don't be shamed. You know when you're using a tool that works? When it's working.
Exactly. When you're effectively communicating with your dog.
When
and
that
getting
happens.
that response.
Yeah, when that happens, you're hitting it out the park. Okay? So, those are the three things. We got to get this leash reactivity under control. We got to have better walks with our dogs. Okay? Mm-hmm. If they're not, listen, guys, if you're struggling, you already hit the subscribe button. You already hit the notification bell. Call us. Email us. Let us do a Zoom lesson with you. Talk you through these things. If you're like, I'm not really connecting the dots here. Give us a ring. Shoot us an email. And we'll be happy to help. Again, this is Ray with Follow My Lead Dog Training.
And Thaloa with Rambo's Raw.
Nice having you guys. Glad you could join us. Until next time, we'll see you.
Talk to you later.
We are gone.